questions, let me know what they are and we will get started. So we are talking about why your goal setting process isn't working for you. So I am a huge goal setting person. I love goals. I love writing things down. I love checking them off. And every year I will set goals. And more often than not, I will achieve them, right? If you are a type A perfectionist style person, you are probably the same as me. But in my business, it often seems like I will set really big, huge, lofty goals that I don't ever really get done. So I will get really small goals done, things like get a newsletter out or like do a newsletter weekly, or update my website or do some new photos or post on Instagram. But the big things that really push my business forward kind of seem to just peter out a lot of times when I think about my year in review. Either I get overwhelmed or I'm just not sure where to start, or I just kind of forget about them, or I have no idea how to actually go about getting them done. And that's because my goal setting process was pretty screwed up in a way as it comes to my business, and yours might be too. So those really big yearly goals sound great, but they don't ever come with a checklist or a timeline. So there's a quote that I love that says, we often underestimate how much we can do in a month, but we overestimate how much we can do in a year. So there's something called the 90-day project or 90-day goals that I love. And it's how I've moved to setting my goals that has really helped me move my business forward. So when I began working on 90-day projects, my business opened up and I was actually getting big things done. So I'm going to share with you this process of how I did that and what it looks like. So for example, this summer, my number one goal is to increase my visibility. I want to bring in more stylists to the Founders Club so that they can expand their businesses. But in order to do that, my network needs to grow and my visibility needs to grow. And I need to get this message out there to more and more people who need and can use this service that is really going to help them grow their business. So in order to do that, I brainstormed a list of what would help me with my ultimate goal. And so that list looked like get interviewed on podcasts, start a podcast, launch a free book club, build relationships with personal stylists via Instagram, and then overhaul my website completely to reflect my current business. So if you go to my website now, it does not reflect a lot of what I've been doing or what I want to do or what my goals are. And these are all pretty big projects. Like redoing an entire website is super overwhelming. Launching a podcast is kind of like, what do you even do with some of these things? So some of these goals are actually done. My book club has already started. And honestly, that goal worked really well for me. I posted about book club in a group and I had some personal stylists join, and then that stylist has now joined the Founders Club. And so I was able to use platforms and leverage them to my ultimate goal, so increasing my visibility. Now, these 90 days really force you into action. So it's not just even that in 90 days, I'm arbitrarily thinking of these things and then they're getting done, right? You really have to decide what 90 days you're going to work on. And a lot of times this corresponds with business quarters. So technically July, August, September, that's quarter 3. And then October, November, December is quarter 4. When I set these goals, I was working off of just a 3-month time frame. So I started June, July, August, so that by September 1, these things would be done. So then what I did is I kind of narrowed down some of my goals even further and really decided what are the 3 major things that I wanted to focus on. So the 3 major things were starting my podcast, was pitching podcasts, and was redoing my website. So how I chunk it down, and I shared this earlier this week with the Founders Clubs, the stylists in there, because every Monday we set our goals and we talk about what we want to accomplish. And this is how I broke it down. So I have my deadline of September 1, which is what I already said. So I chunked it into months. So June was book club. I just had to get it up there. I had to get it out and I had to start it. And it was also my weekly video cast. So I've been doing these every week, sometimes not every day on the same day, but I've shown up every week with weekly video casts. And I've been working with my virtual assistant. So it's been getting on YouTube and Pinterest and Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter and Instagram. And every single week I come up with a topic. So that's a non-negotiable for me. So now I'm in kind of a regular weekly flow with these. My virtual assistant is in a flow of getting them published and put out. And so this is helping me really expand that and raise my profile. So I still have things I'm working on in terms of the actual podcast, right? So there's a list of podcast art and a description and actually figuring out how it's going to be hosted and putting in all of the things. And that is going to be hopefully accomplished by the end of July. So July's focus is really going to be my website revamp. So I have a photo shoot on Friday. I'm going to be redoing all of my stock photos. And then each of July and probably into August, I'll be making little tweaks to my templates. I'll be rewriting my pages and how I want the flow to go and be able to use all of my new pages. So, or all of my new photos for that. July, I'm also focused on pitching podcasts. My goal is to send out at least 50 inquiries. So every week I am sending out anywhere from 10 to 15 pitches to other podcast hosts, basically kind of saying who I am, why I love their podcast, and I'm pitching myself to them. And then August is all about tying up loose ends and really focusing on using Instagram and building those relationships with stylists, because I have another launch that'll be coming for my fall launch for the Founders Club, which will be the big launch. And then most likely things will kind of shut down until spring so that people can kind of get in there and do that. So how I put this all into action, this is a lot of things. I use a combination of Evernote and Google Calendar, which I talked about actually in my most previous video, the rapid fire, to get things down. So if my goal is September 1 to have all of these projects done, then I know that I need to kind of lay out all of my weeks from June, July, August, and figure out what tasks need to go in what week in order to move me closer to my goal. So I backtrack from my goal of what I want to present day or where I am. And then from my weekly tasks, I chunk them down into daily tasks, and then I put them in my calendar. So for example, right now, if I'm pitching podcasts in my weekly tracking in Evernote, every day I have send out 2 to 3 pitches, send out 2 to 3 pitches, send out 2 to 3 pitches. So I have to cross those off and I have to do them so that I get to my end goal of 10 to 15 pitches that I've sent out this week. Now, it seems like this is a lot of work, and it definitely can be because I spend a lot of time in my calendar and my to-do list checking things off. But at the end of this 90 days, I will have accomplished 3 major projects that are going to snowball and have a compound effect on my business. And a lot of times it can be kind of difficult to figure out what you should be choosing to work on and choosing to focus on when you're thinking about goals. And so you kind of have to prioritize. If my biggest goal is raising my visibility, then I need to not get super caught up in the fact that my website is a little out of date right now, right? Like that is a sub goal that I'm going to address and I'm going to fix, because if I am sending out pitches and I am connecting with people, I want people to come to my website and be blown away and have it be super reflective of what I'm doing. But if I wait until my website is perfect, then I am pushing out my ability to raise my visibility until September. I don't want to wait. I mean, it's July, August, September. I don't want to wait 2 to 3 more months to start this process, because it's probably going to take me 2 to 3 months to pitch, to have people come back, to get all of the no's of people that don't want to interview me, to finally get a few yeses, to do the interview, and then have them actually publish it. So for example, I did an interview on a podcast that came out today. You can see it on my Insta stories. And I interviewed with her 3 months ago in March or April. And so it took 3 months for that process to come. So by me moving forward on this 90-day project, getting it done, even though other pieces still need to be tweaked, I am really able to push my business forward in a way that I would not if I haven't been able to chunk things down. So what I want to encourage you to do is figure out, since it's July 2nd, you're in the 3rd business quarter of the year. If you're following a calendar year, you have an opportunity to take 90 days to really achieve something awesome in your business. And that may be you need to outsource and hire a virtual or personal assistant. It may be you need to get a newsletter up and going. It may mean you have a course that you want to write. You need to write the outline. You need to sell it before you make it. You need to get it out there in the world. And you need to not put it off. So there's so much you can accomplish in 90 days. And the one side reason that I like the 90-day process is that if you cannot accomplish a project in 90 days, then you're spending way too much time on it. There is a thing in the business world, and if you are an entrepreneur, you need to move quick and you need to move fast. You do not have the luxury to sit and wait on an idea for several reasons. One, if it's a good idea and you're meant to do it, it's not going to leave you alone, and you need to push it out there into the world. If you wait until it's perfect, you'll never do it. You'll lose your momentum, and then who knows what could have happened from that idea. Two, I kind of lost my train of thought there because I got very excited about just like pushing things forward. Two, if you don't do it right away, you're going to get scared, and you're going to let imposter syndrome and the feeling of you're not good enough, why you, who's going to listen to you, what good things do you have to say and contribute to the world, you're going to let those internal monologues and thoughts prevent you from doing what you are meant to be doing in the world. If I had decided that I wasn't good enough to lead a book club discussion, or I didn't think anybody was going to join, or, you know, I have this crazy idea, and people, honestly, so in book club, people voted for a completely different book than the book I decided to go with, that I felt like my gut was telling me to go with. And I honestly had some fears of, oh my gosh, I really needed to pick this way more popular book because I really wanted more people to be in it. But if I hadn't gone with my gut, I would not have been able to reach one of the awesome personal stylists who is now in the Founders Club and who's getting business resources that are helpful to her. So you need to take immediate action on these things, and the 90 days allows you to do that. It allows you to pick a project, a small project, and to focus on it and focus it to completion. So the third thing here is that if you often working on a year goal frame, what is happening, what is happening is that you are not finishing projects. You start a bunch of projects, they're always open-ended, nothing is ever thought of, started, and completed. And so then it's always in your brain and it's always filling up your head, and that's preventing you from actually continuing to move forward in a way that's going to help your business. So those are actually 3 little bonus things that the reason you need to do 90-day projects is so that you can quickly take action, so that you can overcome your fears, so that you can actually complete projects in your business, which is a bonus for you. So if you are watching this and you're watching it on the replay, or you are watching it live on the video cast, or listening to it on the podcast, which will have art and all of that jazz soon, then I would love to know, what are your next 90-day projects and goals going to be? So choose 1 thing, 2 things, 3 things max, because you don't want to overload yourself. So max choose 3 things, and DM me, tag me as you are working on your 90-day projects, and let me know how it's going. I want to be able to celebrate with you on October 1 as you having accomplished some really awesome big things in your business. And so if you're a personal stylist, this may look like over the next 90 days, you want to do a bunch of style workshops. And this is the perfect time to start pitching yourself to do style workshops, because the fall is coming up. In September, October, November, that's when people are primed to start thinking about their fall wardrobe. So start now in July, develop a pitch, research people you want to reach out to, email those pitches, and then start booking yourself for styling workshops in your area. So that is just one example of how, if you are a personal stylist, you can use this 90-day goal project setting process to really make big moves in your business. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. This was a very impromptu Biz Tip Live. But if you are just now tuning in or watching and you're a personal stylist, the doors are still open to the Founders Club through tonight at midnight if you want to get in and join some of the amazing stylists that we have in there and really gain resources and tips to grow your personal styling business. And if you're watching and you have other potential questions, you don't have to be a stylist to ask me a business question. I started out working with small business owners from all sorts of industries, probably about 2 years ago when I was working with the local chamber here in Richmond, Virginia. And it honestly is one of the most exciting things that I get to do, is to just brainstorm and talk to other business owners about whatever business challenges you have, whether that's social media or marketing or newsletters or where to find clients or anything like that. It is just really fun to be able to do that. So DM me a question, and it may be a topic in a future Instagram live that I do and on the podcast. And I will see you guys next week. So get those questions into me and let me know about your 90-day goals. Let me know what project you're choosing. All right, I will talk to you guys soon. Bye. Bye.